Hey boyos, daily check-in with John V. I think it's September 1st. Not sure, but I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, waiting for arm wrestling practice to start at 7. I've got like 45 minutes to kill. I thought it was at 6, so I'm just sitting here filling my lungs with cigarettes. I'm gonna run out before the night's out, before practice is over, and before it even starts, probably. Sitting at the Legion, sitting beside the old butt container. I tried to rate it, but there's only 3 good butts in it. The rest are all wet because somebody dumped something in the butt container. So it's come to that, boys. I'm down to my butts and I didn't bring enough with, so I gotta raid butt containers. Yeah, I got a lot of orders coming in the mail. Can't wait. Team U, they stopped enticing me with good deals, so I'm not buying there anymore for a while. Because they had given me a free item and then a major discount on 3 items, and I was waiting for just one more discount. And instead, they started taking discounts away. So I was like, nah, I'm not gonna make another order. I can't. I can afford to because I don't have much bills, right? But there isn't much I want. I've been looking at the little shirt pins, the little pins that you pin onto your shirt. Got a whole bunch on there for under $1. Some are like 25 cents, and some of them are pretty cool. Like you get like ones from like Dungeons and Dragons, and there's like a beholder pin, big floating eye with little eye stalks coming off of it for like 50 cents. And I picked like 15 of those different pins just in case I do make another order. And I wouldn't mind having more magic supplies either, because magic is definitely something I'm going to keep doing. Especially when I get to the city, I'll be drafting more, probably like twice a week once I'm in the city. But that's going to get expensive, but what can you do, really? I plan on picking up a casual job when I go back to the city next year, just like a shift a week, like 8 or 10 hours a week. That's it. And that'll give me all the spending money I need for like Team U and Magic drafts and stuff. But yeah, I haven't been to arm wrestling practice in 3 weeks. This will be week 3. So, I'm pretty stoked. I might try to take some videos of practice, of the guys practicing right. But I always have this fear that somebody's going to yell at me and be like, why are you recording this? But, it shouldn't be a big deal, right? It's not illegal to record people. This will likely be like a 20-minute video because I'm wasting time. Because I got a lot of time to kill before the practice starts, right? And I didn't train last night. I was going to do a push workout, and I was like, nah, fuck it. As long as I get 2 good sessions in a week, I'm content. While I'm cutting, I can't realistically expect to really gain much strength. Like, if anything, I have lost a little bit of strength, which is to be expected. But once I get down to a body weight of 175 and pretty lean, if I can still bench press 225 for 8, that's awesome. That's amazing. That's a really solid bench press for 175, right? Because I can bench a little more than that now. If I really went for it, I could probably do 225 for 12. Um, but I'm not pushing myself really, really hard on my workouts because I don't want to get sore and then be sore for a week from a workout and not be able to work out for a week, right? A lot of it's all in your head, right? Because I had guys on the Mist giving me shit saying, when you're cutting, that's when you really need to work hard in the gym. And it's like, no, no, because you make yourself sore as fuck. It's going to take longer to recover because you're not eating a lot, right? So you don't want to go hard when you're cutting. You still want to train adequately, like with an adequate intensity, but you don't want to go balls to the wall. Like if you're doing a major bulk, like bulking like half a pound to a pound a week, then yeah, go all out, balls to the wall, hard sets, because you'll recover from all the extra calories, right? But I get a lot of conflicting information on the MISC and on the web. People giving me shit, giving me advice, and a lot of it's just pointless advice. Like 1 meal a day, 8 meals a day, it doesn't matter much. Like it's a very small difference. It's what you've accustomed yourself to, right? If you can cut better on 1 meal a day rather than 6 or 8, do it, right? Because the benefits of eating 8 meals a day versus one is so minimal, it probably doesn't make a difference. I've seen a study which suggested such, right? And there's always going to be people that say the studies are wrong. Well, that may be, but from personal experience, I don't really notice much difference between eating a large number of meals or eating one enormous meal, right? I notice virtually no difference. Um, Now, meal timing, even meal timing doesn't make a huge difference, right? Because I was always anal about I have to eat 2 hours before my training session, right? I has to be a whole bunch of carbs and shit. And I've experimented with that, and it wasn't the case. There was very minimal difference in how well I could train depending on what I ate 2 hours before. And I've even eaten just like 5 hours before, and that's it. And still had a great training session, right? Hit all the numbers I meant to hit. So, you know, I think a lot of it's all in the head and just it's bullshit, bro science, right? Because the whole protein, fat, and carb thing, I don't even know how real that is. I haven't really experimented with, lowering my protein and upping my carbs and fat just to see if I get the same results. I haven't tried. That's one thing I have not tried. I've always went for high protein, right? But I can say when I first started lifting, I was eating a high carb diet, low fat, low protein, and I was ripped. I was fucking ripped after a year. I was weak as piss, but I was ripped. I had hardly a scrap of fat on me, and I was, 140 pounds, really small, really lean, really light, and really weak as piss, but, I had hardly a scrap of fat on me. And that was from eating Kraft dinner and potatoes and bananas, right? Kraft dinner, potatoes, and bananas mostly. Occasionally I'd have like cheese whiz sandwiches, or like I might eat like a pound or two of chicken at a time occasionally, but it didn't. I didn't notice really any benefit to a high protein diet like I've been doing for years. So I don't know, bros, because there's people that swear by a carnivore diet, just eat meat, like literally steaks and ground meat, and those people that do that just eat meat. They claim to enjoy amazing health benefits from it, right? They claim to lose a ton of fucking fat, body fat really quickly, retain all their energy and strength, and feel energized throughout the day. Their sleep is improved. They shit more frequently. And you would think like, well, an all meat diet, how are you supposed to shit? Like there's no fiber. Well, I don't know how real all that shit is. Like the whole fiber thing, maybe it's just some kind of government conspiracy, right? Now, I am schizophrenic, right? I don't want to go on about government conspiracies because I've known too many schizophrenic people and they'll go on about government conspiracies and government scams and stuff like that, and I get so sick of hearing it. So I'm not going to go on about government conspiracies. I've heard too much of it, right? But, you know, um, it was raining. I left the house, went out and started hitchhiking. I got picked up within minutes. Like 5 minutes later, I was picked up. And I get to town, the town where the arm wrestling is held, and it starts pouring rain while I'm sitting in Tim Hortons eating a chicken wrap with some taters and a coffee. And I'm like, well, fuck, I don't want to walk in this to practice, right? And luckily for me, it stopped. It only lasted like 20 minutes, the pouring down rain. And I'm just really hoping it don't start up again by the time practice is over. Like, it's clouded over, but it's not dark, really dark clouds. It looks like the sun's trying to come through. So I'm really hoping it don't pour down rain again. And I didn't bring my raincoat because, I was thinking, well, it's not really raining now. And then I get to town, it pours down rain, right? So But yeah, life's going pretty good, right? I'm really excited for the Magic draft on Thursday, and I should get first. Last time I should have got first as well, but I fucked up. This time will be different. I'll get first this time. You'll see, boyos. And if I don't, well, you can't win them all. Second place is okay. Third's meh. Less than third is just ball sack territory, right? But I can literally count on one hand the amount of times I've done worse than third place in a draft, right? Literally count on one hand. And I've drafted quite a bit. I've went to probably 20 drafts in my life, and not even a quarter of them I bottomed out. The other, probably 80% of the drafts I've went to, I've got first or second place. So, I win my fair amount. And it's to be expected of somebody who's been playing 24 years, almost 25, right? And when I played on Arena, I still play on Arena, but I don't draft all the time. I'll draft for a few days in a row. Once my rank is all the way back down to bronze, just to drag my rank back up to somewhere acceptable. And I can get to mythic rank. Not high rank mythic because I didn't grind long enough, but if I took a week and played all day every day for a week and had the funds to spare, I could get up to a pretty high rank in draft, right? I was up to the top 1200 in draft on Arena at one point, and I just did it to prove to myself that I could, right? So, I'm a really good player. And top 1200, that means top 1200 in the world, right? Out of, the however many millions of players they have that actually draft. Because I think there's like 8 million players on Arena, and probably only half of them play at least an adequate amount of time, and probably only half of them actually are good at drafting. So out of 2 million players, being in the top 1200 in, a certain format is really fucking good. So I'm a really good fucking player, right? One of my biggest pitfalls is I try to play too quickly, and I always get frustrated with the opponent when they take too long on their turns, or what I think is too long. They'll take like 15 seconds to make a play, and I'm just like, oh, come on, are you gonna make your play or what? Because me, it's like 2 seconds I make the play, 2 seconds I make the next play, 2 seconds later my turn's done. I like plan everything out what I'm gonna do, and that's my biggest downfall, my biggest pitfall, right? Because I won't analyze the board state properly sometimes, and I'll play like an instant destroy spell on something and find out they have an enchantment in play that gives all their creatures ward 1, and it's like, oh fuck, well, I lost that spell just because of my own stupidity trying to play too quick. But for me, it's slow down and analyze everything before making a play. That's the biggest thing I have to learn now. Um, but aside from that, I'm an excellent player. I'm an excellent player, one of the best in the world, right, on Arena. So it goes without saying, I should be one of the best at my local game stores when I go, right? And not the last time when I got third, but the time before that, I placed higher than the two guys that have went to regional championships, right? Best in Canada. I placed higher than them. I got first place, right? So that's saying something about my skill level, right? And I always place well. Just and that's to be expected. Even my first time drafting back over 20 years ago, 21 years ago, when I was like 19, went to my first Magic draft, and it was me and all my friends, right? And I placed second. And one of my friends, they beat me, they got first, right? But second, first time at a draft, that's really good. Skill at the game came naturally to me, and I did improve over time as well, because I wouldn't prioritize removal spells. And I know a lot of you boys are just like, oh, he's talking about magic, this blows, this is boring, this is bullshit, this is nerdy gay stuff. Okay, well, just don't watch the video if you don't want to, but my skill as a player has improved in the past 24 years, obviously. But skill at the game came really naturally to me when I first started playing, right? And always thought like an aggro player, right? I always favored creatures with a high power and toughness for their mana cost. And, like I see a 3/2 for 2, and I'm just like, wow, that's pretty good. What does it do? And if it has some bomb ass ability, I'm like, that's a good card, right? And I see like a 1/2 for 2, and it's just like, me, it's not very good, right? Because it's going to die to most everything, every other creature, and not trade, right? So it better have a really good ability. It better be some kind of like sorcerer or wizard type creature that just sits back and does special things for you. But I won't talk about Magic anymore because I understand some of you boys, a lot of you don't care about Magic, right? But the arm wrestling, I'm not putting a lot at stake in it right now. But when I get closer to next summer, when I get down to my goal body weight, then I'm going to go hard and start expecting more of myself. And that's when I'm going to start training really hard, like the last 3 months of my cut. Then I'm going to really apply pressure on myself and start training hard and regularly, like 4 to 5 sessions a week, right? Likely it'll be like 3 pull sessions, 2 push sessions, right? It'll be something like, I don't know. Obviously, one of those sessions would have to be a pull and push day together. So it would be like, how would I do that? No, I'd still have to do 4 sessions a week, right? If I still want to do at least 2 push sessions a week, I'd have to do 4 sessions a week, 2 pull, 2 push. That's still, that's still good. I could probably put more curl days in, right? The day after I train back and biceps and shoulders, I could train biceps again realistically, right? I could realistically train biceps 4 times a week, and probably not overtrain with the amount of volume I'd be using because I'd only be doing like 4 or 5 sets, right? If it was something crazy like 15, 20 sets, no, there's no way you can recover in a day from 15 to 20 sets for biceps, right? But 4 or 5 sets, hard sets, yeah, you can recover in a day. But I've been slacking on the training because right now, like I said, I'm not realistically going to make any real strength progress in the gym because with the cut, losing 2 to 3 pounds a week, like I'm lucky to retain my strength, right? But I'm not expecting to lose a lot of strength yet. It's when I get closer to my goal body weight of 175 is when I start expecting my strength to start going to shit a little bit. Because right now I'm just going from being really fat to still really fat, but not as fat, right? So I'm not going to lose a lot of muscle. It's when I get down to like, 25% body fat to go down from 25 to 20, I'm going to lose a bit of muscle. 20 to 15, I'm going to lose even more muscle. And to go below 15, that's when it gets iffy, and that's when it's going to be, I'm losing a lot of muscle. So even if I'm 175 at 15% body fat, not training legs, that's decent. I can roll with that, right? I can accept that. But almost 20 minutes, boys. We'll go a bit longer because we got to waste some time, right? I think it's like 25 minutes till the practice. So we'll go 10 minutes longer or so. Have another smoke here in a bit. Probably after the video is over, I'll have another smoke. But yeah, life's pretty good. I gotta keep doing stuff. That way I have things to look forward to and a reason to get out of bed every day, right? But yeah, the protein powder has been serving me well. And I switched before, right, like I was saying, to creatine-free protein powder. And that's what helped me drop some extra weight off the other month. And month 3, I expect the same thing to happen when I do my month 3 weigh-in. I'm expecting it to be fairly substantial, like 10 pounds again, because of, going off creatine, right? Because creatine is going to make you gain 5, 6, 7, 8 pounds of water weight. Now, some people it has more of a dramatic effect on than others. Some people it has virtually no effect. But, yeah, I expect to lose a bit more from going off the creatine, right? And I think after month 3, I'm going to go a little harder on the dieting. because I have been eating over 2,000 calories, like 2,300 a day sometimes, usually. And I think I'll get really strict with myself and go down to 2,000 and no more than 2,000. But I seem to be staying in that ballpark range of 2,200, 2,300 and making progress, right? And I think I'm pretty comfortable with eating that much. I go much lower than that, and it's not comfortable. It's not comfortable, right? Because I can I can eat a pretty big meal of steak and vegetables, right? And at the end of the night, I'll have my protein shake, and then I want a bit of garbage, garbage food. And I can fit in a bunch of garbage food and not go over 2,300 calories, right? I'll have, a couple bear paws or a couple hamburger buns, a couple wieners, something like that. And it all fits right in under 2,300 calories, right? So, yeah, if I subtract that little bit of garbage I have at the end of the night, um, I could easily go under 2,000 calories a day. But that'll be the next step, cutting out that bit of garbage at the end of the night, and it's going to be a little tough, but I can do it because I do still crave stuff like pizza and McDonald's and potato chips and pop. Not so much pop because I drink the diet, right? But, you know, all in good time, and where there's a will, there's a way, right? And I can do it. I've done it so far, and it was hard at first. Like the first 10 days or so was pretty difficult. I was thinking, man, this is tough. I can't deal with cravings like this every night, for the rest of my life being on a diet, right? But I dealt with it, and I, I grew accustomed to it. So it's doable. I think I don't know why some people they get so humongously fat, and it's like, don't they have an ego? Don't they have self-esteem? Don't they have any pride? Like, I don't understand some people. Like, I'll see them and they just have rolls of fat just hanging off of them, and you can tell just by looking at them they've never made any attempt to, do any kind of exercise routine or training routine or diet regimen. And I don't understand people like that. I don't understand how people can live like that. And like they walk and they're basically rolling when they walk because they're just a ball. And I don't get it. Like, how do people live with themselves looking like that? And I know a lot of you boyos, some of you give me shit because, like, how do you accidentally get to 40% body fat, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, well, boyo, like, 40% body fat, yet I go to the store and I mog half the people there. I look better than half the fucking other shoppers. Because I'll go to the store and there's people bigger and fatter than me, and I'm 40% body fat, right? So that's the problem. If you're morbidly obese, 40% body fat, and you're mogging half the people at the grocery store, there's a problem. What's that saying about the general population? The general population looks like absolute shit. So, you become a product of what is around you, right? Obviously, if you're surrounded by losers and deadbeats, you're probably gonna become one too, right? And you really have to cut yourself off from the world and be really selective who you associate with, because you'll become a product of who you associate with, right? You'll become just like them. And that's what happened with me, because like past few years being surrounded by people that were big and fat and ugly, so I start thinking it's normal to look like that, but it's not. It's not. It's just most people are lazy and unmotivated and have no willpower or self-discipline to better themselves. And I don't want that to be me, right? It was for a little while, but I'm taking steps to change that. And next year I'll have my own apartment, and I won't be associating with many people. It'll just be me and myself, my fucking disability check, and my computer and my weights, and just spending a lot of time alone, bettering myself, and going to magic drafts, going to arm wrestling practice, maybe taking up some kind of fighting sport like boxing or something, or maybe submission wrestling, maybe both, but we'll see. Because generally, those things are often cheap to get into. Because back over 20 years ago, 22 years ago, I was in Taekwondo, and it was only $20 a month to participate once a week, right? And that's reasonable. So if I can get some kind of deal like that again, where it's $20 for a month of training sessions of like some kind of fighting sport, that's reasonable, right? But some of these places, they want like, hundreds of dollars, and it's too much. And I don't want to do like karate. I'm thinking boxing and like submission wrestling would be really good. Boxing, you can't really go wrong with boxing, right? Um, and submission wrestling is cool if you're just playing around with your friends, right? Because obviously you don't want to play box with your friends because somebody will get hurt. Submission wrestling, not so much, right? If you think you're gonna, if you think your arm's gonna break because they got you in an arm lock, just tap out, right? But you can't tap out when you got a haymaker coming at your head, and knocks you out cold and gives you a concussion and 6 stitches, right? Um, so, so it'll likely be boxing and submission wrestling, not sumo wrestling either, because like sumo wrestling is good because obviously establishing who can bring the other one to the ground first push them outside of the ring is beneficial in some kind of real fight, obviously, right? Because you bring the other guy goes to the ground, you've got an advantage. But obviously, submission wrestling, or I mean sumo wrestling, it favors guys that are morbidly obese. The bigger and fatter you are, the more of an advantage you have, right? But boyos, it's been almost half an hour. I got to get to practice. It's going to start here shortly. I think like 20 minutes. So I will upload this video to the MISC. And if you've watched this whole thing, thank you very much. And I'll see you on the MISC.